for taking the time to be here, and you'll hear from the folks to my left and the right in a moment, and I'm grateful for their presence and their hard work over the course of a number of years. We're here to talk about some of the efforts that have been underway since 2019 that were accelerated in early 2023 and continue throughout the state of California as it relates to crime suppression and partnerships that have been supported by local law enforcement in coordination and collaboration with the California Highway Patrol, the Department of Justice, and of course members of the Cal Guard. As you may recall, in 2023, early 2023, we were about efforts that she wanted to push to jointly connect some of the law enforcement activities with the district attorney in San Francisco, our state Department of Justice, and the California Highway Patrol. We announced that operation that included Cal Guard, included JAGs, to help with prosecution in partnership with the city and county of San Francisco. You may recall the early success of those efforts. There were 6,200 citations. There were hundreds of stolen vehicles that were recovered and guns, illegal guns. Over 700 pounds of fentanyl was seized because of that operation. So successful was the operation in 2023 that we started receiving phone calls from other mayors throughout the state of California. At the time, Oakland was a hotspot. And Oakland, not only the mayor, but members of the County Board of Supervisors in Alameda, members of the city council, including clergy. We had a meeting here at the governor's office, and perhaps the most vocal advocates for partnership with the California Highway Patrol were members of clergy. We initiated that operation, which continues to this day with tremendous success. I underscore that success to highlight the fact that there has been over 4,000 vehicles in Oakland alone, stolen vehicles that have been recovered under this operation. Illegal guns, DUIs, that operation continues again to this day quite successfully, embraced by the new mayor, currently members of the city council, including, again, those that help sponsor this effort at the county level. We've expanded those operations in San Bernardino. We expanded those operations in Bakersfield. And we've received additional requests in other parts of the state. And that's what we wanted to highlight here today, that we're going to be expanding this operation, building on the success that is now included over 9,000 arrests statewide, an effort that will now take shape on border division down in San Diego. We're going to advance this effort down in LA to other parts of the Central Valley, not just limited to Bakersfield, in partnership with Mayor Go there in San Bernardino. And we're going to expand this operation in a collaborative that continues to include the cities and counties, our partners in the sheriff's office and local law enforcement agencies. We continue as well to work with the federal partners. I'll remind you, in San Francisco, working with the Biden administration, that we initiated as we launched the CHP operation, federal partnerships, an incredibly important and impactful partnership with the DEA, with the FBI, and with the Department of Justice. Operation Overdrive also advanced a lot of the efforts that have substantially improved quality of life and conditions in San Francisco. We continued to seek collaborative partnerships along the lines which we enjoyed in the Biden administration, and we continue to seek collaborative partnerships with local law enforcement agencies and local elected officials throughout the state of California. These operations will be targeted, they'll be data-driven, they'll be focused on the basis of intelligence gathering that's coming from different law enforcement agencies on the basis of these existing task forces and existing relationships. And these will be unannounced efforts. Teams, minimum teams of 15. They'll include K-9 teams. They'll include lieutenants, sergeants, and 10-plus officers. Will surge up, and the commissioner can talk a little bit more about how he sees these teams operating. They'll be mobile. They'll work on a regional basis, and as I noted, they'll be expanded. They'll be pulled out of 6 divisions, at least sort of organized around 6 divisions throughout the state of California. But the big announcement here today is building on the success of this proven program. We're now expanding it to 3 additional areas in the state, notably LA, San Diego, and other parts of the Central Valley. I would highlight, and I think this is important to highlight, and I know the issue of reduction in crime is an important issue, but I want to make this crystal clear. It's never good enough. Good enough never is. Success is not a place or a definition. Success is a direction. There is no having made it as it relates to the issue of crime suppression. That's why in California we continue to build on not just these partnerships, but over $1.7 billion of resources that we have provided under our public safety plan in this state since 2019. I will highlight specifically those partnerships that were significantly advanced, the $267 million in particular that was forwarded for prosecution, vertical prosecution grants for sheriffs, district attorneys, and law enforcement agencies throughout the state of California. 55 LEAs received, local law enforcement agencies, those grants. And that was specifically targeting retail theft, organized retail theft. You may have seen highlighted the outstanding job in partnership with 5 counties, led by Ventura County, other counties in Southern California, the work they just did and announced as it relates to the indictments, 43 counts and criminal charges in those 5 counties related to Home Depot operation that came from the support of those grants, and that was advanced because of a package of legislative reforms that I had the privilege of signing as it relates to organized retail theft that we signed last year and charged under one of those 11 or 12 specific pieces of legislation. Again, we continue to stack more support, and we continue to recognize we need to continue to do more to support our efforts. Of course, we have seen some progress. These numbers bear that out, but these numbers mean little to people. These are aggregate numbers, but we don't live in the aggregate. Everybody lives in a different community with different conditions, different challenges, and we are mindful that we have a lot more work to do. And that's precisely why we are announcing this today. I would rather be remiss if I did not comment on some of the activities as it relates to the National Guard at the federal level before I turn it over to the Commissioner and the Secretary. I am mindful, and I hope you are mindful, that any hour, any day, Justice Breyer will come out with a decision on posse comitatus. It will be the first district federal court judge in the country to adjudicate the facts on the basis of depositions that we had and hearings that we had a few weeks ago in federal court, where we deposed members of the Trump administration, Border Patrol, and the military as it relates to their operations in the state of California. I think its consequences will be profound and far-reaching. We're waiting to see that decision, and we're waiting to reflect on the impact of that decision, not just here in the state of California, but the prospects, I imagine, if we're successful in our efforts in highlighting our concerns around posse comitatus, that it will find its way into the appellate court, and the impacts, of course, that could be felt as it relates to the determination of that court on the broader western part of the United States. So our mind is fixed on an issue that remains a top priority and focus for all of us. We're not naive about the challenges that continue to plague our communities throughout the state of California, and we've every Tuesday provided you the information. And I'll close on this. Many of you reported on it. Some I would encourage to take a look. But every Tuesday we highlight our what we refer to, forgive the vernacular, Takedown Tuesdays, and we highlight the progress of these existing efforts. We'll continue to do so in a transparent and forthright way as we have over the course of the last few years, but we'll do it on the basis of these renewed efforts and these significantly expanded operations throughout the state of California. Commissioner, perhaps you want to talk a little bit more about what you intend to do and what you've been doing.
Sean Dury, I'm the Commissioner with the Higher Patrol, joined with Assistant Commissioner Rodney Ellison. He oversees all field operations for the state. For us, it's simple, doing everything we can in our power to make California the safest place to live, work, and travel. We are all Californians. We live in the communities that we serve, and we want to be out there serving the people of California. As the governor noted, we had the full-time crime suppression team in Oakland that has been extremely successful. And nobody knows that better than the people of Oakland, the communities of Oakland, who thank these officers every day for the work that they're going in there and doing. The numbers speak for themselves. We have part-time teams currently in Kern County. We have a part-time team currently in San Bernardino County. Our plan moving forward is to make those teams full-time, bifurcate the team in Kern County, service Fresno, open up a team in the Sacramento region, open up a team in Los Angeles, and open up a full-time team in San Diego. These teams, as the governor noted, will range in size from a floor-level buy-in from 12 to 15 officers. Those numbers will grow depending on the size and scope of the operation and the need of the community that we're working with. We're very grateful, and I want to recognize our partners with the local allied agencies. Many of them have reached out to us and asked us for this help. We look forward to partnering with them. We look forward to serving the specific needs of the communities, whether that's open-air drug markets, whether it's street racing, whether it's auto theft, drugs, whatever it is. Finally, I just want to thank the men and women. I want to make this distinction. The people that we put on these teams volunteer for these teams. They come from the communities. They take this very personal. I want to give a shout out to the men and women of the Highway Patrol. We set a goal this year to remove as many crime guns, illegal guns from the streets that we can. The highest year we've had to date with the Highway Patrol hovered around 2,100. Year to date this year, we're just at 2,500 crime guns that they have removed from the streets. On top of that, almost 1,100 pounds of fentanyl, illegal drugs that are polluting our communities. And so to the men and the women of the Highway Patrol, I say thank you. To the governor, thank you for the support, the confidence. To our teammates and the local allied agencies, we look forward to working with you.
I appreciate it, Commissioner. And Tokes, perhaps you can update some of those coordinated operations. You're also doing a lot of work, continue to do a lot of work with cities and counties as it relates to encampment cleanups and quality of life issues.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to be here. Just two really quick points. Number one, I want to thank the governor for his continued support and leadership on this issue. He's, every single time the CHP has reached out for support and come up with a new idea, or he comes up with a new idea, we're able to move it forward, and the evidence is there that it's making a difference. So thanks to the governor, and thanks to Commissioner and Commissioner Rodney as well for all your support in moving a lot of this effort forward, and for the governor's continued leadership. Number two, even though the governor said in his comments we don't live in the aggregate, look, his team, my team, spent a lot of time looking at the data. And when you look at this data, it clearly shows a lot of the efforts that he's been leading, Commissioner's been leading, it's making a difference. That chart he showed, Oakland, San Francisco, crime down. Overall as a state, violent crime is down in 2024, 4.5%. Property crime is down, 8.5% across the state in 2024. As the Commissioner noted, it's not just he and his teams. Those allied agencies obviously play a significant role in driving those numbers down. So I think it's just important to note that even though the governor is being bashful and saying, you know, we don't spend all our time here, our teams do. The people in the community should be feeling that impact of improved safety out there, no doubt. But to the governor's point as well, these issues related to crime are very much connected to what our streets look like. Not only do I have the responsibility to support Commissioner DeRee, also have oversight and support of Caltrans as well. Caltrans has a big responsibility in making sure that our rights of way, more than 50,000 miles in the state, are clean and open and safe, and dealing with issues related to people experiencing homelessness and encampments and litter, Clean California, all those things governors spearheaded to levels that we've never seen before in a state in his tenure, with funding and policy support. And so we're going to continue to do that work as well. Beyond CHB, Caltrans is going to continue to be focused and stepping up in cities like Oakland and San Francisco, and Bakersfield, San Diego, LA, to make sure that where we're seeing high numbers of litter or possible encampments, we're cleaning those up, and not just cleaning up encampments just to disperse people, but to make sure that they have long-term housing and care that they need as well. It's very, very important in the work that we do. We're not just going out there and cleaning up our sidewalks and clearing people out of the way. We're making sure they're connected to the continued services that they may need as well. So with that, again, Governor, thank you for your leadership on this. And Commissioner DeRee, the CST effort here, hoping that it sees much success in the months to come.
Yeah, no, look, and the leadership is shared across the board. And again, I want to just highlight the mayors in particular that have been extraordinary partners in this effort. And it's a bipartisan effort. We're moving in Republican communities, Democratic communities, but we're all moving in the same direction. And that's the spirit we're bringing to this expansion of our existing program, and want to maintain that momentum and do it on the basis, I think, of what the commissioner mentioned, which is with the strong support of the community. One of the things that has been, I spent a lot of time in Oakland. It's an extraordinary thing to walk the streets of Oakland and have people come up and say thank you to the California Highway Patrol. Thank you to the men and women of the California Highway Patrol for being there. And that's testament to the quality of the training, but also the quality of leadership. And so I just want to acknowledge the men and women that are in front lines and thank them for being extraordinary ambassadors for this program that allow us to be in this position to be able to expand it significantly across the state. With that, we're happy to answer any questions.
Governor, is this in response to President Trump talking about, or is it to prevent the possibility? When President Trump talks about deploying more National Guard troops to more cities, is this part of a response or to prevent that from happening?
Well, I think you can go back to your own reporting. We've been pretty consistent with these kinds of announcements. We haven't necessarily invited you in to the horseshoe here to announce them. We've done it by paper. We do it every week. We're highlighting these things. I've had probably 9 or 10 press conferences on this topic over the course of the last few years. So we're not reacting or responding to anything, quite the contrary. With one caveat, the community wants to see more. And we are trying to be responsive to the people we serve. As it relates to the president in particular, he's doing things to people, not with people. It's a point of profound and consequential contrast. He's de facto militarizing American cities. That's why I led with the Breyer decision. We're waiting for the outcome of that. Could have profound implications in terms of his authority to militarize American cities. Again, certainly here in California, impacts, though, will be discussed and debated if he moves in our direction across the United States. But I should note, just on that, if he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's. In Louisiana, this is Speaker Johnson, 4x higher. I'm just offering, again, you've not seen this on Fox News, so President may not be familiar with these facts. So I want to present some facts to the President of the United States. And imagine this is alarming to the President to learn these facts, particularly Speaker Johnson, who's been such a strong partner and ally in these efforts. So the carnage in Louisiana is well defined. Of course, Mississippi leads the nation as the #1 murder state in America. Imagine this in particular may resonate with the President of the United States. It's got a murder rate 180%. 180% higher than Los Angeles. It's interesting. LA has more people. These are all per capita numbers. More people than Los Angeles. Perhaps the president could deploy the National Guard in every corner of Mississippi. It's the murder rate's out of control there. Carnage. And governor may want to make that phone call. Again, if they care about the issues of crime and violence. I would note St. Louis murder rate is 190% larger than Oakland. I can go on. We could talk about the carnage in Arkansas, again, one of the top 10 murder states in America, 2.6 times greater than San Francisco. Again, these are just not just observations. They're stone-cold facts. And the fact remains, if the president is sincere about the issue of crime and violence, there's no question in my mind that he'll likely be sending the troops into Louisiana and Mississippi to address the unconscionable wave of violence that continues to plague those states.
Governor, you've talked about putting the mirror up to the Trump administration. I'm not necessarily pointing to this, but in social media with the Patriot Shop that you've established, I mean, is this a way still, though, to sort of do that? Because
we've been at this, as you know. We've been to all these events for months and months, and I think we kicked this off with the AG, a few years back in San Jose. We were very vocal about the legislature moving on that legislative package a year plus ago. So I think it's a continuation of that. I mean, but I think it is important to highlight the National Guard issue. I thought it was the right question, and it's a question on all our minds. Is this America? Are we losing our country? Have we lost grip with reality? The idea that the military can be out there in every street corner. In the United States of America, that people that don't look like me, the black and brown community, quite literally feeling like they're racially profiled, scared to death to walk their dogs or go to the grocery store. Even in some cases, now you're hearing more and more about it, going to the hospital to get emergency care, let alone preventative care. For that matter, even going to school or a graduation we saw last year, funerals, weddings, events. So, no, I think it's important to build on what we're doing, yes, to extend that narrative, to expand our successful programs, to acknowledge we have work to do, not suggesting otherwise, but also acknowledge that this country needs to wake up to what's going on, and not just the authoritarian tendencies, but the authoritarian actions by this president. This cannot be normalized. And yes, so I'm highlighting some just blatant hypocrisy. Yes, we're putting a mirror up to the lunacy that is Trump's tweets and his grift. The madness that is someone that would dress up as the Pope and tweet that out, or put his face up there on Mount Rushmore in a Superman costume. President of the United States. So I do think it's important to put that mirror, that lens back, and have everyone reflect on it and say, well, have we accepted this as normal? Why aren't we calling this out more clearly? So extension of what we're doing, but also, yes, highlighting some of that.
We know that he often, challenges facts. We saw him challenging crime data in D.C. What's the plan in place if he obviously doesn't believe?
Well, I mean, it's an administration that's always believed in alternative facts. In fact, facts don't matter, illusion rules. That's why the chatbots at Fox are so successful at night. Shape-shifting, facts don't matter. They flood the zone with narrative. But facts are stubborn things. And the fact is, Mississippi, I mentioned Arkansas. How about Tennessee? Alabama. Alabama's top 3 murder states in America. Where's the President of the United States? I thought he cared. These are his states that voted for him. His state of mind doesn't seem to be focused on the issue of crime and violence. It's about an expression of authoritarianism. He reflects and waxes, I think, 2 of the last 3 days, talking about being a dictator. I hope people pay attention. And so we are data-driven here. This basis of facts, in evidence, not just police chiefs that provide that information, but the FBI that stress tests that information. We still believe that facts matter. And that's a question for the Trump administration. I'm not convinced he does or ever has.
Governor, thanks for having us in your office. I think it's the first time we're in this setting.
Yeah.
Speaking of mimicking, were you trying to resemble the Oval Office? And can you speak to this setting in
I don't think this comes close, but I appreciate.
What was behind it? You wanting to do it?
No, I mean, we were going to go down to the second floor for all of you insiders. I've never been inspired by that place, so and so I thought it would be nice just to mix it up a little bit. And so talk to Izzy. He had a creative idea today, and thought it'd be nice to invite some. 1 or 2 of you have been here, and I think we created animus because others weren't invited in here. So we figured it would be easier to get everybody in.
I have a question to your point about crime rates going down in some of these communities that you're deploying additional resources into. That's been an argument when it comes to where Trump has been deploying the National Guard in places where crime rates are actually going down, like places like DC. So how can you justify that? What's the reason for putting more resources and more law enforcement on the streets where communities might be seeing decreasing crime rates?
Well, because, as I said, good enough never is. A decrease is not, I think, look, and this is more my own observation. This is more of a tonal observation. I don't think it's a very good argument to make that, well, we're down 15, 20% when you still have people whose cars are broken into. You still have crimes being committed. You still have murders. You still feel unsafe in certain parts, in certain communities and all across this country. So I think we have to be very careful about that. And I'm not arguing to defend the status quo, quite the contrary. We think we can do better still. Just because we have the second lowest homicides in modern recorded history, certainly my lifetime, doesn't mean we can't do better. We can. And that's what this is about. But again, I also would highlight that our efforts were focused in the initiation of this effort that we're expanding here today. We're focused on hotspots. We focused on parts of San Francisco 2 years ago that were of concern. We've seen progress, but not good enough. I talked to the mayor the other day about it. He wants to see more. He was very encouraged by our willingness to engage and re-engage back in San Francisco. We went to Kern County, which was the murder capital of California, Kern County, a few years ago. I'm off the charts. I think for 5 out of the last 6 years, they've been the murder capital of the state. And we reached out to mayor and the county and we said, look, this is not just about coastal cities. This is about parts of the state that we don't overlook, but often parts of the state that are overlooked. And those partnerships have proven unbelievably successful. By the way, I mentioned Mayor Go because not only did she enthusiastically embrace this, but she's seen some of the biggest decreases in crime in Bakersfield in the state. We're using not just our mobile resources, we're using our air resources down there as well, and I appreciate the commissioner's work in that respect. We're going after sideshows down there, and we've seen some success. So their willingness to engage has been profoundly consequential and beneficial, and I think a lot of those communities that have seen declines think they could do better, can do more, and that's why we're going to do that.
Governor, you mentioned hotspots. Can you speak a little bit more, maybe you all can as well, to what's happening in Los Angeles County, what your plans are, if there's specific crimes you're targeting or enforcement you're going to stand up there?
Yeah, it's still early. We're having conversations with LAPD. I can tell you this, the city, the mayor's office, and our counterparts with LAPD are very excited about the partnership we're going to do. That's probably going to be one of our biggest number of resources. We have a lot of officers in LA County, so it's going to be an easy lift for us. And so we look forward to being proactive with them. And really, it's going to be, we sit down and plan out these operations 30, 60, 90 days out with Los Angeles Police Department and see where we want to combine our forces. So.
You mentioned retail theft, you mentioned street racing. Are there any specific types of crime you'll be focusing most on?
Yeah, I mean, our bailiwick is auto theft, obviously, just any crime. When you have a crime issue, the governor talks about where these trends are going up. Our plan is to go in and do what we do. We go in and saturate an area with high visibility in-view patrol. We're going to put numbers of black and white patrol cars and officers in uniform in there. It deters criminals. The people that have a problem with that are the criminal community have a problem with us coming in and saturating an area. So whatever the crime is, when we come in and do just enforcement that leads to good police work, that crime goes down. So. I
want to just, and if I may, well, forgive me, but just I want to also compliment the commissioner. It was the CHP working with LAPD that were protecting the National Guard and the military in LA. I want to thank them for that. The LAPD, in partnership with the CHP, had to protect the federalized guard and the United States military after Donald Trump federalized them. And I just want to compliment you more publicly for an outstanding job in that respect. Forgive me.
Can you talk about what your efforts will focus on in Sacramento and Central Valley?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, same thing. We're talking with those chiefs directly to see where their needs are, but it'll be the same plan of attack. And so these operations will be well thought out, will be data driven, will be planned in advance, but obviously we're not going to public on when and where. And after we've executed some of them, we'll be more than happy to share what the results
Two
are.
messages today are kind of contradictory. On the one hand, you're mocking Trump's deployments and highlighting the crime rates in red states that you say are higher, and at the same time, we're here because you're surging law enforcement across the state. So, do you believe that crime is a problem in California or not?
Well, sort of a curious question. I made the entire point that crime's an issue and we want to tackle it, and we continue to do more in that space, and we announced and highlighted some of the expansion. What is not contradictory, respectfully, is that we're doing it in partnership with our local communities. We did it in partnership with the Biden administration prior. We're not talking about the nationalization, the militarization of the Guard and militarizing United States cities. So quite the contrary.
Thank you, everyone.
Trafficking,
Thank
is
you.
that, I mean, not to get specific, but trafficking in this area.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody.